was nothing, just lights in the trees, a trick of the frost, a ghost on the breeze. But I saw a mirror older than me, staring through time like it wanted to speak. The forest went silent, the world held its breath. Something was watching beyond life and death. We stepped through the green, boots breaking the seal, not chasing a light, but something too real. I came back with salt on my skin, my mind split wide where the storm got in. They call it a test, but I know the deal. History blinks beneath the green veil. Yeah.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to Chapter 4. The Green Veil, which will be Chapter 4, is the Signal Splice. So I'm here with John Burroughs. Actually, he's the one that created this 22-chapter animated series, along with, and we can't forget, Keith Cearlock, who is the person behind putting this animation, the narration, everything put together for this 22-chapter series. So, gentlemen, how are you tonight? John? John is good. Chris?
Fine, I'm great. Good to be here with John and you.
It's a pleasure to have you last week we had Commander Cobra, so from time to time we'll have both of you join us, and maybe the Padre will join us in the future too. Especially, as John knows, getting toward the end of this 22-chapter series, it's really going to be profound. I have the descriptions of all the chapters, and this is going to be so powerful as we move forward. It seems like it's just getting better and better and more intense as the chapters go on.
Oh, yeah, I think it's very powerful right now, Bill.
Oh, yeah. So, obviously, we've seen the first three. John knows everything that's going on around this. So I'm not even going to approach him with any questions because he's the one that created this. All right, so let's just get right to it. Let's play Chapter 4, the Signal Splice, and then we'll come back on the other side and we'll have a few comments before we wrap this up. All right, so everybody enjoy Chapter 4, the Signal Splice. Here we go.
Previously, in Chapter 3, Echoes of the Fault Line. The Signal Awakens. Dr. Elias Voss and Christopher Pike pulled back the veil on a Cold War operation unlike anything on record. A Soviet satellite was brought down. A plasma field was triggered. And Jack Barrett, he didn't just witness the anomaly. He walked into it. As we step into Chapter 4, the Signal Splice, the timeline splits again. Jack wakes in 1980, unsure how he returned from the forest. But deep inside, the phenomenon is still calling him back. Meanwhile, 45 years later in Washington, D.C., Dr. Elias Voss stands before a classified Senate hearing. With Barrett at his side, Voss begins to explain what the world was never supposed to know, that Rendlesham was the first test, that Tic-Tac was the second, and that both were born from the same technology, a signal seeded across time. The signal is no longer waiting. In this chapter, you'll hear a classified report, Echo Frame's own analysis. Woodbridge, December 27th, 1980. Jack Barrett woke in his bed, heart pounding, mouth dry. He didn't remember coming back. The last thing he recalled was standing at the edge of something, bright, breathing, and impossibly quiet. Now he was lying beneath coarse military sheets in the barracks at RAF Woodbridge. For a moment, he wondered if the entire experience had been a dream, but the ache in his bones and the humming in his chest said otherwise. His eyes darted to the frost-edged window. The forest was calling him. Not with words, with presence. Jack pulled himself upright, rubbing his temple. The memories weren't gone. They were just submerged, waiting. As the base stirred with the early shuffle of guards and ground crews, he knew something unfinished had begun. Classified briefing, U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee, Washington, D.C., December 17th, 2025. In a secure vault beneath the Capitol, a classified session had reconvened. This was day 2 of the closed hearings that began with Jack Barrett's sworn testimony. Seated behind lead-lined walls, the United States Senate Intelligence Committee and members of the Gang of Eight prepared for the arrival of Dr. Elias Voss. The night before, Barrett had testified about the events of December 1980, what he saw in Rendlesham Forest, what he experienced, and what had been done to him. Now they were ready for corroboration. Dr. Voss had arrived in D.C. under special escort. As an architect of the once-buried Operation Echo Protocol, he was no longer a shadow. He was now a key witness. As aides distributed documents stamped in red, the room fell quiet. Barrett sat once more behind the reinforced table. Voss stepped to the stand. Eyes only, classified briefing. Project Echo Protocol, Internal Analysis Document 07-1981. Date January 15th, 1981. Original compilation date. Reviewed December 17th, 2025. Compiled by Division 9, Harmonic Field Intelligence, OCH-FI. Clearance: Cosmic Top Secret Echo Frame. Senator Halvorsen cleared his throat. Dr. Voss, you're certain this report hasn't been circulated outside this room? Voss nodded gravely. Not even to the Pentagon, only the agency heads directly tied to Operation Mirrorlink. The panel leaned in. Aides dimmed the lights. 1. Executive Overview. Between December 26th to 28th, 1980, USAF Technical Sergeant Jack Barrett, stationed at RAF Woodbridge, encountered a localized atmospheric anomaly exhibiting non-linear flight, electromagnetic interference, and apparent spatio-temporal deviation. 3 days of sustained sensor disturbances and personnel interactions suggest the deliberate staging of an intelligence-driven UAP interface event. Subsequent analysis indicates convergence with data from Project Condign, UK Modi 2000, classified until 2006. Sensor confirmed 2004 USS Nimitz Tic Tac encounter. Archived anomalies from Orford Nest plasma trials, initiated under Cobra Mist. The question no longer remains whether this is terrestrial or extraterrestrial. The operational framing now reads, Engineered convergence through controlled atmospheric geometry. 2. Condign model, field replication and effects. Certain unidentified aerial phenomena may be due to highly charged buoyant plasmas, capable of interacting with electromagnetic systems and biological observers. Condign, Volume 2, Paragraph 46. A. Project Condin postulated the existence of electromagnetic plasma, constructs that mimic advanced craft, emit focused microwave or RF radiation, create local sensor blindness, jamming, vanishing. influence perception and time continuity in witnesses. Rendlesham correlation. Barrett reported a structure made of light, shifting under observation. Time-lapse reported as 3 minutes. External logs registered 18. Surveillance cameras at WSA recorded signal dropout and flare compression, consistent with plasma envelope diffusion. Tic-tac match. Hovering without thrust, vectoring. Accelerative velocities greater than Mach 10 without boom shock. Radar lock disrupted across SPY-1 and FLIR systems. Pilot cognition slowed during visual phase lock. Both events match Condon's plasma field cognitive bleed model. 3. Undisclosed field testing, possible man-made or controlled deployment. Data gathered at Rendlesham suggests human co-participation in the event. USAF/CIA liaison Lieutenant Malcolm Rayner and Dr. Elias Voss initiated signal conditioning prior to main incident. Barrett's ECG showed electromagnetic entrainment patterns, resonating with Orford Ness emitter logs from 1977. British radar logs from Neatishead confirm an object descending from 80,000 feet to 200 feet in less than 1.3 seconds. This may not have been a visitation. It may have been an activation. Project Condon's proposed use of plasma as a stealth medium and perceptual manipulator fits the signature of Black Tier prototype testing, possibly coordinated under Operation Mirror Link, a program scrubbed post 1979. 4. The time dilation signature. Condyne hints but avoids direct discussion of time domain anomalies. Jack Barrett's debriefing includes encountering a future echo of himself inside a hall of mirrors, witnessing external events before they occurred, corroborated by later military log entries, being told you're already inside. This matches Condyne's most controversial Appendix G, redacted in public release, which describes localized space-time distortions caused by high-density EM propagation may result in field-based time compression or perceptual stasis. Furthermore, Barrett's DNA shows mitochondrial anomalies post-incident. He registers oscillatory EEG frequencies consistent with neural phase bleeding observed in SRI remote viewers. 5. Operational conclusion. There are 3 primary hypotheses. A. Man-made technology, breakaway tier. An engineered craft utilizing plasma cloaking, inertial mass manipulation, and directed EM jamming to simulate UAP performance. Barrett's interaction was part of a control experiment. B. Hybrid intervention. A genuine, non-human intelligence operating through field resonance structures. The Rendlesham incident was invited by earlier Cold War experiments, creating a feedback aperture in space-time. See natural plasma. Consciousness. As Project Condon subtly infers, UAPs may be non-biological atmospheric intelligences, reacting to human observation or tech intrusion. Plasma is not just a medium, it is the signal. 6. Recommended actions. Barrett to remain under echo frame watch until signal harmonics return to baseline. Do not expose full Condon annex to Allied or Congressional review. Resume synthetic plasma lattice tests at Site Delta, UK, and Site Sigma, Alaska. Monitor for recurrence at grid node Capel Green. Addendum. Field note, Dr. Voss. You don't chase these things. You let them open the door. The trick is knowing when you've already stepped through it. As the lights came up and Voss stepped down from the podium, Senator Ortiz raised a hand. One more question, Dr. Voss. Did the writers of Project Condon use the Rendlesham data in their assessment? Voss nodded. Yes, though heavily obfuscated. The incident was folded into broader categories under plasma-related phenomena. Direct citations were scrubbed, But make no mistake, the Rendlesham encounter heavily influenced Condon's core models. Another senator followed up. And how much of what occurred there impacted the development of current technologies? Voss took a breath. More than I can explain in a single hearing. Plasma lattice projection, cognitive interface testing, and harmonic frequency mapping all originated from post-Rendlesham research. What happened to Sergeant Barrett and the others, especially the biological resonance effects, led directly to the studies that now underpin next-generation stealth and sensor evasion systems. "Did you provoke the phenomenon deliberately?" someone asked. "We did," Voss replied. "Using overlapping RF frequencies, ground-based emitters, and human biometric targeting. We identified Barrett's frequency response ahead of time. The anomaly did not initiate contact. It responded to ours." A younger senator leaned forward. "One last question, Dr. Voss. Did the Rendlesham event directly lead to the technology we observed during the Tic Tac incident in 2004? Were you involved?" Voss paused, then nodded. "Yes, the link is direct. Rendlesham wasn't an isolated event. It was the ignition point, the research frameworks that emerged from it, particularly harmonic propulsion modeling and plasma masking physics, fed directly into dark access test programs that evolved into what was seen by the Nimitz carrier group." He adjusted his glasses. "You have to understand, what they saw wasn't an accident. It was part of a controlled exposure window. The Tic Tac event served two purposes: real-time proof of maneuverability using mass reduction fields, and a live test of U.S. Navy sensor fusion systems against non-linear craft behavior. We weren't just observing it. We were testing our defenses against it." One senator frowned. "Are you saying it was staged?" "Partially," Voss said. "The object was real, but its exposure was managed. It was a test of response time, perception thresholds, radar coherence. The Nimitz wasn't just seeing a UAP. They were seeing the result of decades of layered experiments. Rendlesham was first. Nimitz was the proof of concept." Barrett glanced across the room. The timeline had shifted once, and now it was beginning again. His voice pierced the silence. "Let me take you back to December 1980. A voice from the dais followed immediately. "Dr. Voss, you are not excused. We will have many more questions as Jack continues to testify." Chapter 4. The Signal Splice delivered more than testimony. It unveiled a system, an echo loop between past experiments and future consequences. Dr. Elias Voss didn't just confirm what happened in Rendlesham. He exposed the truth that it wasn't an accident. Plasma fields were engineered. Time dilation was measurable. And Jack Barrett, he wasn't chosen randomly. He was identified, tracked, conditioned, and drawn into the heart of a defense project that blurred the line between science and sorcery. Through Voss's classified report, the committee learned that Condon buried the truth in plain sight, that Tic Tac was part of a decades-long continuum, and that what happened in East Anglia might be happening again. Jack is no longer alone. The committee is listening, but with each new revelation, another question echoes louder. If this was staged, then who or what is really in control? In Chapter 5, The Double Blind, Jack begins to remember more than what was repressed, because something buried beneath Capel Green is waking up, and it's calling him again.
Through the silence of time, I walked alone, but the stars knew my name in undertone. From Rendlesham woods to Saturn skies, I carried the echo, I lived the why. It wasn't the end, it was unfolding. Not contact made, but truth
All right, we're back. Chapter 4. Now, I'm just going to make a quick comment, and I spoke to John about this. This one seems to be putting the pieces together for me. The connections of the technology that we may have been testing back in the 60s, or even further beyond that, going back in time. And up to this point, because in this chapter, it seems like you could see the connection with plasma, weaponization or testing platforms with plasma, similar to what could have possibly happened at Rendlesham with John and Peniston and the others, and also what the technology we've seen in recent times with the Tic Tac. So, John, what's your take on that?
Well, you're spot on. I mean, I'm starting to lay out. I mean, you can write a book, which I've got a different one coming out. It's more like my biography. But this is dramatization. It's showing you, because I've always said it'd be cool to show what we experienced and how we experienced and what we were involved with and what we've uncovered with what we probably had, used on us or walked into and everything else. And it gets more intense as we go, but I'm starting to lay out. I've had several people message me after 3 and go, wow, I had to watch it a second time to totally understand what you're trying to tell us. And I said, I'm laying this out with real technology. This is real technology, folks. This is not make-believe technology.
The great thing is, when you watch this, you can actually take exactly what you just said and look it up, folks. Just don't watch this and assume that this is just a sci-fi story, because it's not, because it's relating to actual. Chris, you delved into that a little bit.
Yeah, I first of all, let me tell you something, John. This is a remarkable story. I really love the graphics. It's whoever did the graphics, top of the line. Music was sensational. Just if you're a music lover, you got to go to this just to listen to the music, because here's the phenomenon about it. This most amazing part. It tells a story in a song, and it's so you can understand what is taking place because the song actually tells the story, and so you get that feeling. Now, the one thing, John, that first of all, I got to tell you, I really feel for your journey that you're going through, because watching the chapters, watching the stuff, and then going through all this to find out the truth and find out, what actually happened to you is a remarkable story and a remarkable journey. So kudos to you to begin with that. One of the things I picked up in the chapter was it's sort of like you became not part of the object, but you blended with the object in some way. I hate to use the Star Trek term mind melted, but there was a consciousness exchange. You weren't aware so much of it as you wanted to be, but there was some sort of connection that possibly you still hold today. Is that true, John?
Yeah, there definitely was.
I would like to add to that, because we only got like a couple of minutes before we have to wrap this segment. And Chris, I want to thank you for joining John and I for the review show that aired on Saturday. But it's also, Chris, maybe not so much of the physical object point of view, like that aspect.
Right.
Maybe that's what Peniston, claims that he had that experience, but more of a time distortion energy field that he got into, and it affected time and space and everything else. And again, the physical changes that he may have, a manipulation of his DNA. You know what I mean?
Correct. But one of the things that was amazing that the story says is that he was having memories that have not even occurred. And so I picked up on that, and I says, that has to be some kind of connection in order for something to be sent into you, John. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, but
no, it's a piece that I've learned about, as far as came to understand it better from some things that happened to me after the event. And yeah, you're right. You're right on. There was an interaction with what we interacted with in my own consciousness. Yes.
Let me ask you this question. I know we're short on time, but I'm just amazed. they show you a picture of a figure behind you, but it can't be identified, and you say there was nobody there. Were they able to, you think, by their technology or whatever technology was, to actually extract your consciousness from your body?
That's what's implying, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's an amazing thing. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you talk about is, as Bill said, you could find it. This is actually technology that's in use. But to be able to, it's almost like extracting your soul out of your body, your consciousness, your soul.
Well, it goes a little deeper. That was my consciousness from the future.
Right. And I didn't get that part because,
Yeah, that's
like I said,
yeah, that was me interacting with my future self. That's why I could predict the future. But that actually came out afterwards through different things that happened to me since the event that point to the fact that we may have interacted with ourselves from the future.
and that makes perfectly sense with the phrase that was put in there, that you're knowing or seeing memories that have not taken place.
Yep.
Because your future is actually putting those memories to you.
What's not for sure yet, and it'll become more clear later, was whether I traveled to the future or whether the future traveled to us. And
No spoilers!
But
I can't wait. I got to tell you, every episode, it just gets better and better. So looking forward now to
I like the character Jack Barrett. I think that's a hell of a name.
Yes, it's JB, actually,
Yeah.
JB. Anyway, gentlemen, we have to wrap this already. So everyone look forward to chapter 5, which is The Double Blind. And every Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, KGRA platforms everywhere, on X at Global Radio Live. So make sure to check it out. And for John, Chris, and myself, you all have a great night, and we'll see you next week. So till then, we're out of here.